Okay, the next step will be to add in some of the foreground and a couple more of the background elements. So the first thing we'll do is to try to get the Statue of Liberty poking up from behind the horizon, looking like it's toppled over. So for that to happen, we're going to put the Statue of Liberty onto video track 3. So it's going to be in front of the clouds. So again, it's just an image, and you can see it's behind the desert landscape. So because it's an image, what we need to do is stretch it out across the entire thing. Now, towards the end of the project, what we'll do is we'll come back and tidy up all these ends so it all finishes at the same time. But there we go, it's there, it's already poking up. So we need to add a couple of filters to this. So like your guide tells you, we are going to add the size, position, and rotate filter. That will allow us to put it where we want it. Let's stick it over here somewhere. We're going to tilt it on the side to make it look like it's toppled over. Just hold that handle there, tilt it as much as you want. Figure out how much you want it poking up from the horizon. Okay, like that. It's pretty simple. You can make it smaller or bigger. It's a little bit hard to get all the scale right. Realistically, that would be very small if we've got skyscrapers in the front here. But it doesn't blend in yet, so we need to add in a couple of the other filters. We're going to also add in the color grading filter, color grade, and like we did before, let's just change some of these more towards the red, yellow, orange. We can always go back and just work with that a little bit more. We're also going to add in a brightness filter just to darken it a little bit more because it's meant to be sort of on the horizon, just in the distance. And because it's a little bit too colourful actually, so what I found was desaturating it was also very helpful. So I haven't got that in my favorites, so I'm going to go and search for that filter. Saturation, so that controls how much color is in the image, and I'm going to bring the color down to there, and then we might need to do a little bit more fiddling until we get it looking all right. We can always go back and keep changing it. That'll look fine for now, all right? So that's there in the background. Let's add in those skyscrapers, the ruined skyscrapers and buildings that will go in that mid-ground area there. So they are going to go onto video track 6. So we go back to our playlist. Ruined building, the first one. There's 2 different ones there. Let's put those onto video track 6, which will be, because it's sitting on top of that desert, it will be in front. So I'm going to drag it down. Video track 6, it's a still image. Let's extend it across the entire timeline. Now this one is a PNG file, so we need to get rid of that background. Let's go filters, add. In my favorites, I've already got chroma key simple. Okay, use that dropper tool, click on that, and select. Now I don't think it matters if you select a grey square or a white square, it seems to work either way. And because it's meant to be sort of a decaying building, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit transparent, but you can adjust that a little bit. Okay, obviously we want to move it, so we're going to add in the size, position, and rotate filter. We're going to shrink it down. Again, you fiddle around with the size to make it look as good as possible. Stick it up there somewhere. There we go, that'll be fine. And then we can also do the color grading of that. So add color grading, and you should be getting used to this now. There we go, that seemed to work pretty well. We might also add in the brightness filter, take the brightness down a little bit, make it look like it's a bit shadowy. That looks fine. Now, if you want to be really fiddly, what you can do is a little bit too sharp there where it meets the foreground element, so we can actually crop it a little bit. So one of the filters that we used before was a crop tool. However, this one we're going to use a different one. Select the crop source tool, and if you just on the bottom here, you can see as you move that slider along, it just changes how much of the bottom part of the image is actually visible. So I'm just going to slide that along a little bit. Okay, it's never going to look perfect, but that's good enough. So let's go through the same process for the second building. Go back to the playlist, Ruin Building 2, put that onto video track 5, extend it. There it is. Now, we should always keep saving it all the time. Working with so many video tracks is going to be a bit of a struggle for our laptops, so we might have some episodes crashing. So, what we did before was we got rid of the background, chroma key simple, select that eyedropper tool, get rid of the background. We need to position it, size, position, and rotate. Shrink it down so it's about the same scale as that other building there. This one actually looks a little bit smaller, so it might be a little bit further in the background than that one. Put it sort of roundabouts in the middle. Okay. We are going to also do some color grading. So it'll look good if we can try to match it to that one as close as possible. Let's add in the brightness filter. Take the brightness down a bit. That's looking fine. And let's also just crop the little sharp edges around the bottom. This one looks especially a bit jarring. It's got this angles there. So type in here, crop. I'm actually going to add that to my favorites now because I'm using it so much. Crop source, like we did before, just bring this slider up a little bit, and it sort of sinks into the ground a little bit. Okay, that's all right. Might just move it backwards a little bit more to try to create that illusion of perspective as much as possible. Okay, so that's some of our foreground elements that are now in the image. While we're here, we might as well add in a couple others because it's the same process. So down here we can put a little bit of rubble. There it is, the debris and rubble. So we've figured out that that can go onto track 11. And this is really through trial and error that you figure out what track everything goes on. Obviously it's floating in the wrong spot, so we need to apply a filter. Go to the favorites, position, let's put it down in the corner here. Okay, it doesn't look like it matches the color, so we need to apply the color grading filter. That's fine. We could also, because it's a little bit blurry there, I thought instead of changing the brightness of it, we could try to adjust the contrast of it to make it pop a little bit more. So if we just increase the contrast, it might help it to stand out a little bit more as an interesting foreground element. Okay, so just checking our guidelines for that. We've got the size, position, rotate, color grading, and contrast filters. And the other thing we had over here in the corner was those damaged cars. So damaged cars, and that can go onto video track 10. Extend it. So this image already has a transparent background, so did the debris one. So all we need to do is just move it. Shrink it down a little bit. Down here, just to add to that sense that this is a post-apocalyptic scene. We can just adjust the brightness as well, just to help it blend in a little bit. Okay, that's fine. So that's most of the foreground elements that we've got in. We will also have a car that will go across the landscape here, but we'll do that in another step. So save your work,